In my opinion, sound design is one of the most important and overlooked aspects in video games. A great example of how sound design could change the tone of a game is Metroid. Let's compare Metroid to Super Metroid. Even though they have similar stories, gameplays, and areas, the tones of the two games are very different. This is because of the shift in sound design. The tone of the original Metroid is a fun adventure, while Super Metroid is a thriller adventure. For an example of the change in tone, listen to the first thing you hear in Metroid and compare it to Super Metroid. Because of this change of tone, you as the player can tell this is not going to be a fun, happy adventure like the original Metroid, but more like a hard, stressful one. Just from sound design alone, you could tell there's a huge change in tone from the first game in only 3 seconds. My personal favorite use of sound design in video games has got to be from Dark Souls. For people who haven't played Dark Souls, I'll give you a quick briefing. In Dark Souls, this dude named Lord Gwyn protects this big-ass fireplace that holds the first flame. By the way, Lord Gwyn kindles the flame with his soul, which will be important for later. The first flame is the origin of all light and protects the world from darkness. But recently, the first flame is going dim and is on the brink of death. In Dark Souls, you play as an undead hero that has to go on a lonely journey to make your way to Gwyn and link the flames to save the world. The undead have a curse placed upon them by the first flame. This curse prevents permanent death. Because of this, when an undead quote-unquote dies, they lose some of their humanity until they go hollow. When an undead becomes hollow, it's like a zombie that never dies. But why is this important to sound design? This is important so you know the overall theme of the game, because if the sound design does not represent the theme of the game, it fails to do its job of immersing the player. Music in Dark Souls is rare, but when the game does have music, it's depressing and gives you the feeling of hopelessness and inevitable doom. For example, listen to the main hub of this world. But there is one moment in Dark Souls that is one of the best uses of music in video games. But before we talk about that, we have to talk about boss music in Dark Souls. Almost all of the boss music in Dark Souls is the same high energy, intense fantasy, angelic choir bullshit you hear all the time. So you would think that the final boss music would be even more intense with more drums and shit. But Gwyn throws a curveball. Take a listen. This song comes out of the blue. It is the only instance of a peaceful and quiet song in the whole game, and is playing the one time you would not expect it. The final boss. This song is a beautiful piece by called Gwyn, Lord of Cinder. This song perfectly encapsulates the emotional weight of the battle. Gwyn is dying slowly, and can barely fight because his soul is being used to keep the first flame alive. It feels like you're putting down a sick dog. Your character has died many times through this adventure. Even if you play the game perfectly, you have to die at least one time because it's a scripted event. So your character knows what it feels like to die. But if you defeat Gwyn and choose to link the flames, your character will truly die. Your character knows that their true death is inevitable, and because of that, the character is still coming to terms with the realization when he sees Gwyn. An important aspect of the reason why the song works so well in this fight is that there are two endings of Dark Souls. 1. You sacrifice yourself to link the flames, saving the world in the process. Or 2. You choose not to link the flames, leaving the world to darken, and you become king. But if you think about it, All the outcomes of this fight are really shitty. 1. Gwyn kills you over and over again, and he slowly dies, and the first flame slowly dies, which causes you to die. 2. You kill Gwyn, sacrifice yourself to Link the Flame, saving the world in the process. Or 3. You kill Gwyn, become king, which causes the first flame to die, which results in you and the rest of the world dying. Regardless who wins the fight, in all of the scenarios, you and Gwyn die. This song is about your character and Gwyn coming to terms with their deaths, and that's why the song feels so slow and sad. It's the perfect way to end the game and is the most memorable part of that whole fight. It's clear that From Software put a lot of time and effort into the ending of this game. Well, that's it. Laters.